Newcastle United 2, Manchester City 1. The winning goal came from a set piece. Manchester City players believed that Bruno Guimaraes was in an offside position when Voltemada heads the ball. There was also a little bit of a discussion as whether or not Voltemada hitched a ride on the back of the defender, whether or not that Gianluigi Donnarumma was fouled or obstructed in the build-up to the goal. The VAR looked at it for a very long time and decided that the goal would stand. It was checked. All of the onside positions were looked at, and it was decided that the goal was okay. Let's start with the factual decision that's caused the most controversy, the offside. The graphics have caused much debate on social media, with complaints that the wrong frames are being chosen, many people putting their own images out there claiming Bruno is offside. I'm going to give you the opportunity to clear it up for us, Chris, because I've got a bit of a rant coming about this.
All right, a rant. Goodness me. Yeah, well, I mean, what a game of football that was. And it's a shame, really, that afterwards, all we see on social media is image after image after image and line after line after line. And people talk about conspiracy theories. This was a really difficult check for Craig Pawson, make no bones about it. Situations like this you can't check them quickly because there's so much to unpick. Was there a foul? Was there two offsides? Yes, there was. What goal was scored, etc. We move on. I have to say that, in my opinion, all these checks were correct, and it was right that the goal was allowed, because when we looked at the two players, they were both onside, so I don't have a problem with that at all. What I have a problem with at the moment, Sam, is social media, and I have to say at the weekend, I switched it off yesterday because I just couldn't look at it anymore. I'm just looking at guff when it doesn't need to be like that.
Okay, all right. Well, I think the reason that you're looking at guff and the reason that there's lots of conspiracy theories is because of the way that it's presented is inadequate, really. And let me explain that. The first thing you see is Donnarumma immediately complaining as the ball crashes the net. He thinks there's an offside offence or that he is impeded. Now, Voltemada gets above Nunez. His hands are on the Portuguese defender, but it's not a foul, in my opinion. That towering header finds Bruno, who I think looks offside, but that's the key here. I don't think he is, and we'll prove that with the graphic in just a few moments, or not. He cracks the bar. It comes out to Harvey Barnes, a flick of the heel, which is brilliant. It goes under the radar how brilliant that little movement is that he sets up the opportunity to smash it into the net. The goal is given on field, and then there's a lengthy VAR review, which we've already mentioned. Voltemada, not a foul, and if it is, Guardiola on Bruno is too. Ultimately, Diaz plays Bruno onside because of the top of the T-shirt line. Now, firstly, I think the graphic displaying why it is offside that goes out on social media causes all of your problems. It is useless. It's rubbish. Secondly, the T-shirt line is at the top of the arm, top of the shoulder, level with the crease of your armpit. If you're watching on YouTube, here's the graphic that is published in the laws of the game. Look at my shoulder here. This is where it is supposed to be. It is not the bottom of the line of the T-shirt. I know that on the graphic, it looks like that is where they are measuring it. And it is an appalling graphic for that reason. But they aren't. They aren't. Follow the line up through the arm, and that is the top of the shoulder. Therefore, it is offside. But here's the issue. I don't think the semi-automated offside technology can possibly map that, because no algorithm in the world has all the data and enough measurements of every single player and the sophistication to apply them to a match situation. When we know that the T-shirt line is different for everybody. So it's different for Chris, it's different for me, it's different for Voltemada, it's different for Ruben Diaz, because his shoulders are slightly bigger and thicker, and the crease of the armpit is different for every different human. That's just the way it is. So the reason it takes so long, in my opinion, is that they have to manually decide where the T-shirt line is, I think. And it's crap, because the line and that goes up through just doesn't look clear enough. And because it's on the line, because it's so border, it's so sort of marginal, that creates the debate. And that's why you need a strong graphic to convince everybody that this is the right decision. Now, there has to be a demarcation point, and of course it's really tight. So there are going to be people who think, oh, you should have ruled this out. I actually think if this was ruled out, we'd be accused of finding ways to rule out goals. And that's why I'm happy with the process.
Yeah, I think knowledge is key here, isn't it? Where the arm starts and where the arm finishes. I think what people need to understand as well with this, Sam, I think there's a really good video on the Premier League website with Chris Kavanagh, who talks us through the process of how this works and semi-automated, and people should actually have a look at that. I think moving forward, it'd be prudent or beneficial if, you know, we could get to Stockley and have a look at how it works. I think that'd be really good as well. That would help us. We get you in that hot seat. You might not be as noisy then, but fair play to Craig Pawson on this one, because there was so much to check. And as we say, with football, there's so many trends and themes. We're going to talk about Leeds and Aston Villa in a little while, aren't we? And we've got a similar incident where there's so much to unpick. But as I said, I think the secret here is to trust the process.
Okay, so we're saying okay, goal, no problem. Just, I think, a little bit difficult to try and sell it with the images that we'll put out on social media. Let's talk about another incident in this game. Phil Foden receives the ball inside the penalty area, takes a shot, goes wide. As he releases the ball, the Newcastle defender Fabian Schär comes sliding in. It's a late challenge. He made clear contact with Foden after the ball had gone. Why was it not a penalty?
It wasn't a penalty because Sam Barrett, the referee, didn't give a penalty. And I am going to get absolutely pummeled again here, aren't I? Because if I was refereeing that game, Sam, I don't think I would give a penalty. And for every person who says it's a penalty, I've found another one who said it wasn't. And there is contact on Foden. I see that. He shoots. There's contact on top of the boot. Schär's trying to play the ball. He's in a controlled action. You know, where can he go? Now, a lot of people will say, Chris, that's a penalty, and I understand that. But a lot of people will say, no, it's not. So I'm going to get clobbered. I understand that as well. But Craig Pawson, who's obviously had a busy afternoon up at Newcastle, has looked at this. The referee at the time was in a really good position. He looks at it and he feels as though he's not made a clear error, and they stay with the on-field decision because they didn't feel as though that challenge was reckless or it was a serious foul play challenge. But that's my opinion, and that's the way I see it.
Okay, so I'm gobsmacked by that because there's no doubt that he doesn't get the ball. He does make contact with Foden after the ball is gone, and immediately I thought penalty. And everybody I was in the pub with on Saturday night was going, that's a penalty, that's a penalty. And in fact, I did wonder if he was reprieved because he slightly tried to pull out, but I was really clutching at straws. I mean, it looks to me for all the world that is a penalty. So is it okay to foul someone after the ball has gone? Is that what we're saying?
No, we're not. I mean, listen, in my opinion, Sam, that's a fleeting glance. And if Sam Barrett gives a penalty on field, the VAR would look at that and go check complete. I think what you've got to understand as well is when you're in the pub watching a match through the bottom of a pint glass, you can get a bit clouded sometimes. So just remember that moving forwards. But listen, that's my opinion. You know, if I'm Sam Barrett in that position on Saturday refereeing that game, would I have given a penalty? No, I wouldn't. And people say, Chris, you've got it completely wrong. I understand that as well. But a lot of people are saying, no, just give the goal kick. And you'll hear many referees say that as well. This is one that will divide opinion. Is it a clear and obvious error? Is it a howler? No, it's not. They stayed with the on-field decision, and I'll take what flack comes my way.
Well, you're going to get quite a lot, I think. And let's move on to the handball by Malik Thiaw. Jeremy Doku drives into the penalty box on the left-hand side and unleashes a shot towards the goal. The shot's blocked by Malik Thiaw. The ball does definitely come off of the arm, but his arm is tucked into his body, even though his hand is up in a bit of an awkward position. What did you make of this one? I mean, I thought it was just a little bit too close, this. Doku is about 2 yards away. Thiaw is sort of twisting to try and keep out the way. His hands are really tucked into his body. Are you saying no penalty here? Or are you going back to James Tarkowski on opening weekend and saying, oh, there was a little bit of leaning?
No, this is completely different, isn't it? What it is in this situation is the ball does strike the hand, but it's very close into his body. You know, if you look at where the hand is, actually in the body line. It's very close. I just don't see a penalty. I'd have been gobsmacked if a penalty had been given in that situation, Sam.
Okay, have we done enough on Newcastle against Manchester City? Is there anything else we want to go through? Pick any other decision apart? Was the full-time whistle okay? Pep Guardiola wasn't very happy at the end.
Yeah, it was every throw-in from the right position. Did we play enough? Did we add enough time on? No, I mean, listen, I've actually refereed that game a few times, Newcastle Man City, and it's always a great game, and that was one that I really enjoyed watching.
Pep did go on the pitch, didn't he, and have a word with Sam Barrett at the end. What's that like as a referee?
You're more concerned when the camera operator comes on and puts the camera in your face than a manager. Obviously, he's come on to shake his hand and exchange pleasantries, which sometimes managers do.
Diplomatic Chris Foy, who, when he leaves Men in Black, will be working in the Foreign Office in some embassy across the world.